Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. It's flu season, so whether you're healthy or you're fighting a bad case of the bug, practice these good health habits. Avoid contact with sick persons. Do not touch your eyes, ears or mouth after handling money or touching doorknobs and any other commonly used surface. And be sure to disinfect those surfaces. Cover your mouth and nose when sneezing and coughing. Wash your hands regularly. If water is unavailable, use an alcohol-based sanitizer. The most important tool against the flu, however, is a healthy body. So get lots of sleep and exercise, as well as drink your fluids and eat nutritious foods. Our program starts right now.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya and dengue viruses. Protect yourself from the bite of this mosquito. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Monday, February 29. Jamaica has received high praises from the Electoral Observation Mission, EOM, of the Organization of American States for the way in which the country's 17th general elections was conducted. Mission Chief Janet Bostwick said she observed several good practices which could be beneficial to other countries in the region.
The EOM wishes to commend the professional conduct and diligence of the poll workers, supervisory personnel and security agents who facilitated the voting process on both days.
The EOM mission chief was presenting the preliminary findings of its observations during a press conference on Friday. The team included specialists in electoral organization, electoral technology, political financing, gender and political analysis. During the general elections on Thursday, 23 international observers from 15 OAS member states observed the proceedings to carry out an assessment. The Ministry of Health is urging persons to protect themselves from influenza viruses, including H1N1 or swine flu. Up to Sunday night, Jamaica had 10 confirmed cases of H1N1. A 49-year-old female died on February 23 at the University Hospital of the West Indies after contracting the virus. The female, however, had other underlying illnesses, such as severe respiratory tract infection. This brings to 2 the number of H1N1 related deaths in Jamaica. The Health Ministry is urging persons to avoid getting ill by washing their hands regularly and avoiding contact with persons with flu-like symptoms. Persons with influenza are also asked to practice good hygiene by covering their mouth and nose when sneezing or coughing. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry is reporting that the virology lab at the University of the West Indies should begin local testing for the Zika virus next week. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Winston Delahaye says the equipment have already been purchased and the health workers have been trained. The ministry says community cleanup activities are a sure way of eliminating the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which transmits the Zika virus, dengue and chikungunya. Jamaica has recorded 1 case of the Zika virus so far, and there has been an increase in the number of dengue cases. Persons are also reminded to prevent mosquito bites by wearing long-sleeved clothing, meshing windows and doors, and using insect repellent containing DEET. Barracks Road Primary in Montego Bay, St. James has a new classroom block to accommodate students from grades 4 to 6. The new classroom block, valued at $25 million, will also accommodate students in the school's special literacy program. Principal Alonzo Jones thanked the Education Ministry for investing further in the school, adding that students with special needs will greatly benefit.
We really needed to make special provision for these students. Now they have a room with a finely bred teacher and her assistant who will better address the needs of these children who pose special learning needs.
And finally, students in Regions 3 and 4, the parishes of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James and Hanover, will be able to sit their CSEC Spanish oral exams free of cost this year. This as the Overseas Examinations Council and the Ministry of Education have received over $1.1 million from the Spanish Jamaica Foundation, SJF, to pay for the examinations. SJF's General Manager Karen Donaldson handed over the check at Montego Bay High recently.
We believe in supporting access to quality educational opportunities And we believe that Spanish literacy opens doors to all sorts of opportunities for students to make a positive impact on the national as well as the international stage.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thanks for watching.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
As we say goodbye to February and usher in the month of March, we know some parents with children going to basic school will be busy with getting all their documents in place to start the registration process. If you are in that group, watch this next feature.
I'm a circle, circle, I wanna be a square. I wanna be a
Are you the parent of a soon-to-be 3 or 4-year-old? If it's not already, this will become your reality in a couple of months. You've begun to prepare mentally and financially, and you've probably started the process of selecting a school for your child. Now, as you help your child get ready for this next phase of life, here are some tips on what you need to know about the school registration process.
A is for apple, apple. B is for bull, bull.
Having decided on the school of your choice, you need to find out when they're having the registration, because you want to be on time, you don't want to miss out on the school of your choice.
Generally, registration for preschool or basic school begins anywhere between January and May each year.
Fish, G is for gorilla, gorilla.
You get your application letter. Attached to the application form will be a cover letter stating when we'll have orientation, when there's a meeting, when it's registration. So you follow that. It also states categorically that if you miss one of these meetings, then you automatically give up your space because one leads to the other.
Having been told when the registration will be, you go to the school. They will give you the information that you need for registration. Usually you need birth certificate, immunization, and 2 photographs of the child, passport size photograph. There will be a registration fee, and you will be told when is their orientation.
Q is for question, question. R is for ring.
During the parents' orientation, we will have more documents for you to fill out. There's a medical that's required by the Early Child Commission that parents have to answer questions about, like medical history. You'll get your bank voucher, you'll get samples of the uniform, the patterns, and so on.
If, for example, we're taking a child who is a 4-year-old who is coming from another school, then that child would need to take a transfer letter, which we would have given to the parent in May when they come to take our time return.
A is for yellow, yellow. Z is for zoo.
That's the time you take your child in, you get a feel of the school, you ask the relevant questions and stuff like that.
The orientation for the students, now that's sometimes done in a summer program or in some schools just prior to the reopening of school in September. They will have an orientation day for the new students. But basically we find that having an orientation during the summer where they'll have more time, they will meet and interface with the teacher they'll have. They'll get accustomed to the classroom that they'll be in, bathrooms and so on. They are much more prepared.
I'm a circle, circle, I wanna be a square. I wanna be a triangle.
And that preparation begins at home. Help make the transition as smooth as possible. Moving from home or daycare to school is a big step. So start talking to your child about going to school. Make the conversation fun. Play dress up. Put on the school bag. Use a coloring book. Whatever it takes to get your child ready for this next great adventure.
Wherever you are, I'm a star, I'm a diamond, I'm an oval, I'm a heart.
No son A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice! High five! Woo!
A good education will never decay.
This next feature has a career option for college-aged students or someone looking to switch careers.
I'm Kerry and this is Career Talk. Now this time it's a two-for. One program, two career options. Some more about that, some important news, and a bit of fashionable tips for workplace success coming up. Don't move. So I thought I'd try my hand at setting up a website, and I'm not doing too bad, right? So clearly I'm no expert, but if you want to be, check this out.
To make it pretty, that's the web designer's job. The web developer is the less ceremonious part of the job. Imagine you have a blank page, there's nothing on it, and it's your job to make it pretty, to make it functional, to help somebody accomplish some kind of goal. You know, that is the fun part.
That is the web designer's job, creating the look and feel of worldwide web pages.
The web designer's job starts sometimes on a sketch pad, you know. You have an idea, you know, a client wants a website for something, and the first thing I do as a web designer is I sketch out a mock-up or the layout. Then I design it in Photoshop. After I design it in Photoshop, I cut it up. So I slice up the design into smaller images, which I will then use in my HTML and CSS. That's when everything comes together.
Before all of that, though, the web designer will usually consult with the client about the purpose of the website and nature of the content, figuring out factors like color, the typography, images, and graphics. Once the basic concept is agreed upon, the web designer gets to work, and when he or she is done with their part of the job, it's handed over to a web developer.
The web developer, it takes care of the dirty work, like database management and writing stuff, pulling a new story from the database and pushing it out to the front end, you know, security, that kind of stuff.
Some developers design sites themselves, while others receive designs from web designers and then translate them into a form that computers can understand.
A computer is like a robot. It doesn't know what to do until you tell it what to do. So what the developer does is he creates a sequence of code that basically tells the computer what to do when a person interacts with a web page. So sometimes a developer can be writing thousands of lines of code for one website.
For both web designer and web developer jobs, it's critical to be patient, meticulous, good at problem solving, able to work under pressure, and flexible. As far as education is concerned, post-secondary training in computer science is a good start, but nothing beats hands-on practical experience. And in this field, the information is easy to access.
I mean, college is very important. Let me just emphasize that. But I'm saying you don't really need official training. Like, there's a lot of people who can't afford to go to college, you know what I mean? But if you have a computer and drive and an internet connection, that's all you need to be a web developer.
To make yourself marketable, create a profile of your work. Do free projects for friends to help build that profile. Money will come eventually.
There's a potential great earning in it because it was a web developer that created Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all of these cool sites. When I was just starting, I did several projects for people living in the US. And I was sitting in the country, in my room, you know, doing projects for people in the US, sometimes big companies too. So the sky is the limit once you put your mind to it, really.
Miranda Priestley's the editor-in-chief of Runway.
So you don't read Runway?
No. Not to mention a legend.
And before today, you'd never heard of me?
No. You work a year for her, and you can get a job at any magazine you want.
You have no style or sense of fashion.
Though it may seem trivial as you consider all the factors for success in the world of work, what you wear cannot be overlooked. The trick is to always dress for the task at hand. If you work on a construction site, jeans and boots are fine. If the law firm is where you're headed, scrap the denim. If your office has a written dress code, follow it. When in doubt, go traditional. Again, it all depends on the nature of your work. So if your office style is business casual, a more structured version of what you already like to wear in your personal life should work. For the office that's all about business, a well-tailored suit is a must. If you work from home, well, it's simple. No pajamas, please. For the construction site or any job that's likely to involve grease or dirt, get a uniform for the work site. But if, say, the fashion industry is where you're at or headed, it's tricky. Essentially, people expect you to look the part. For a fashion house or designer, if you can, wear something from their label, but don't overdo it. Show them you understand their style sensibility, and you don't have to bust the budget either. Invest in a few moderately priced foundation pieces and add just the right touch of accessories to ramp up fashion quotient. But if nothing else sticks today, remember, presentation counts, casual shouldn't mean slovenly, and dress as you want to be seen.
So there you have another informative career discussion. Your company has been much appreciated. I'm Kerry. Till our next installment, go out and be bold. The world is yours to conquer.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
The road environment can be a dangerous one. So aside from practicing defensive driving and adhering to the road code, the vehicles we drive were also built with our safety in mind.
Active safety refers to systems that helps to avoid an accident, while passive safety refers to features that minimize the injury to occupants of a motor vehicle when it is involved in a crash. These active safety systems are the steering and the braking of the motor vehicle that are operated by the driver, while the passive safety features are like the airbag and seatbelt that is activated by the vehicle itself when it is involved in a crash.
And speaking of a crash, it is important to buckle up at all times, because not only does a seatbelt save lives, but it helps to prevent lifetime and long-term injuries.
It's very important to wear the seatbelt. In case of an accident, the seatbelt will keep you from going forward.
In case of sudden impact, you don't, fly from the seat or from the vehicle, so it keeps you stabilized.
And if you don't wear the seatbelt, you can be persecuted. So it's very important to drivers to always wear a seatbelt because it saves life.
Under the Road Traffic Act, you can be fined $500 and 2 points if you are caught driving without wearing a seatbelt. The same fine applies if your vehicle is not fitted with seatbelts. And then there's a penalty of $800 for not ensuring the safety of your passengers.
Persons must remember that the seatbelts are installed in the vehicle as a safety device to minimize the injury that you might receive in the event of a collision. So persons who are wearing the seatbelt in this fashion, right, this is not the correct way. The seatbelt must be worn right across your shoulder. If the seatbelt is too high based on your height, then it can be adjusted to fit right across your shoulder. And if you are a tall person, it can also be adjusted so that it fits you as best as possible for your own safety.
Children are precious, and their safety must be taken into consideration when traveling in a motor vehicle. So if they are too small, a child or booster seat must be used. This is recommended for children under the age of 7.
You should also make sure that it is firmly fitted in the vehicle, allowing for minimal forward or sideways movement. Let us use these safety devices to help protect our children from death and serious injuries in road crashes.
The purpose of the headrest is to support the neck and the head. And in case of an accident, your head would be going back way.
I think where whiplash is concerned, it give you protection from that also.
It don't make your neck strain or it hurts. It just relaxable. You're more comfortable, so you concentrate on the street more.
The headrest is sometimes mistaken for a luxury feature, but it is actually another valuable safety feature on your vehicle. The headrest or head restraint is actually to minimize or prevent a whiplash injury during a collision. It should be adjusted to the height of the driver and passenger's head, and there should be at least 2 inches between your head and the headrest.
This is the highest this particular headrest can be extended. So this will be okay. So in the event of a crash and the vehicle is stopped suddenly, on impact, the seatbelt will restrict your forward movement and the headrest will restrict the backward movement to avoid any whiplash injury. During a collision, the airbag acts as a cushion that minimizes or prevents injury.
What the airbag does is to reduce the speed of the forward movement of the occupant. The airbag is designed to inflate rapidly in moderate to severe crashes and provide protection to the occupants' bodies when they strike interior objects such as the steering wheel or a window. However, for proper protection, persons should be correctly restrained with a seat belt.
During a collision, on impact with an object at a speed as low as between 16 and 24 kilometers per hour, the airbag inflation system acts on 2 gases, sodium azide and potassium nitrate, which produces a nitrogen gas that inflates the airbag and suddenly deflates the airbag within a second on contact with the occupant.
Most vehicles carry 2 airbags to the front, one in the steering wheel and the other on the dashboard on the passenger side. But in high-end vehicles, you will find up to 8 airbags at various locations to the front, rear, and even to the sides. Airbags were designed for one use only, and therefore once it has been deployed, you must have new ones installed. Reusing airbags is a dangerous practice.
You've often heard it said that children should travel in the back of the vehicle, and here's one of the reasons. It is because they are too small to handle the impact of the airbag, so take these tips into consideration.
You should never put a rear-facing child seat in the front seat of a car with an airbag. But make sure all children are buckled up no matter where they sit. Unbuckled children can be hurt or killed by an airbag. Do you know where the crumple zones are located on a vehicle and what's their purpose?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't know.
They're immediately front of the vehicle. Or where the passenger or the driver would be, that part would take the impact away from it.
The crumple zone on a vehicle are located to the rear and the front. In a crash, these two areas are so designed to crumple so that it minimizes the effect of the crash on the occupants and sort of preserve the cabin area that the occupants are located in.
These areas are designed to deform, hence the word crumple, upon impact, so that the force from the crash is transferred into the bodywork of the vehicle and not to the body of the occupant. The crumple zones are also designed so that damage to the cabin area of the vehicle is limited during a crash. These areas also help to slow down the crash so that the occupant's motion is contained and they are not thrown around.
This is a vehicle with a frontal damage. And if you notice the front area here, this is actually the crumple zone, which is located to the front. And the effect of this collision actually caused the entire front to crumple inward. And as you can see in the center here, this is typical of a pole impact. And this impact, this crumple, will be the same that would be seen at the rear of the vehicle if this vehicle was involved in a rear impact collision. These areas are so designed that they actually sacrifice themselves during a collision to actually secure the cabin area of the vehicle where the occupants are located. This area will for most part remain intact to minimize the effect of the collision and lessen the injury to the occupants themselves.
Buckle up when you drive, protect your children with child and booster seats, and strap them down well. Adjust your headrest and never reuse an airbag. This has been Road Scholars. Until next time, take care.
And that's our show. We're glad you could have joined us and hope you'll be with us again tomorrow on this station. If social media is your speed, join us on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. Our website, gis.gov.jm, has information you can use to better live your Jamaican dream. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, thanking you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.